Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the wild, unbelievable history of Domino's Pizza. And trust me, it's a story that has everything. Tragedy, epic failure, and a comeback that honestly should never have happened.
I mean, really think about that. The story of Domino's is a total roller coaster. We're going to cover deadly delivery promises, a real-life hostage situation that was sparked by a mascot of all things, and one of the most brutally honest marketing campaigns ever.
So to really wrap our heads around this, we're going to break this incredible story down into 4 distinct acts.
All right, let's get right into it, and we have to start with the founder, Tom Monahan, and his just absolutely brutal childhood.
I mean, his early life was just one tough break after another. His dad dies when he's only 4. His mom, who can't provide for him, has to put him and his brother into the foster system. He bounces around between foster homes and a super strict Catholic orphanage. He even tries to become a priest but gets kicked out of the seminary for being a troublemaker. And then he accidentally joins the Marines thinking he was signing up for the Army. You can't make this stuff up. But all that struggle, it forged this relentless, ambitious guy who just would not quit.
So after he gets out of the military, he loses all his savings to an oil scammer, back to square one. But then his brother Jim comes to him with this idea. There's a little pizzeria for sale called Dominick's. With a $900 loan, the two brothers are suddenly in the pizza business.
Well, that partnership didn't last long. The work was grueling, the money wasn't great, and after just 8 months, Jim wanted out. And this next part is wild. In what has to be one of the worst business deals in history, Jim traded his 50% share of the company for their delivery car, a used Volkswagen Beetle. That's it. Tom was left all alone with this tiny, struggling business that would one day make him a billionaire.
So, how in the world does one guy with one failing pizza shop turn it all around? Well, the answer is innovation. He didn't just make pizza, he completely re-engineered the whole business.
Monahan's entire empire was built on 3 huge ideas. First, keep it simple. One night he was short-staffed, so he just slashed the menu down to the basics and had his best night ever. Second, he went all in on delivery. No more sit-down dining. That meant smaller, cheaper stores. And third, and this is a big one, he reinvented the pizza box. And this quote just perfectly captures who he was. When the box companies told him his idea for a sturdier corrugated box couldn't be mass-produced, he just wouldn't accept it. He pushed, and that new box was a total game changer. It kept the pizza hot and stopped that saggy lid from squishing the cheese.
But he wasn't done. His next big move was to centralize everything. Instead of every store making their own dough and sauce, one central kitchen would prep it all and ship it out. This is genius. It guaranteed every Domino's pizza tasted the same. And again, it meant franchisees needed smaller, cheaper stores. This became the backbone of their ridiculously successful franchise model.
But you know, as Domino's got bigger and bigger, its success brought on a whole new set of problems. And these problems got dark and sometimes just plain bizarre.
So in 1984, to fight off Pizza Hut, Domino's launches its most famous campaign ever, 30 minutes or it's free. It was a smash hit. Sales went through the roof. But that promise, it turned out to be incredibly dangerous.
Now, this number you're looking at, it's not revenue, it's not profit. This represents the cost of one single devastating event that would force the company to change forever.
Yep, that was the settlement Domino's paid after one of its drivers, rushing to make that 30-minute deadline, blew through a red light and terribly injured someone. It wasn't an isolated incident either. The policy was eventually linked to more than 20 deaths. The public was furious, and Domino's had no choice but to scrap the guarantee.
And if that wasn't bad enough, things got weird. Remember that bizarre mascot from the 80s, the Noid? Well, in 1989, a man whose last name was actually Noid, who was suffering from mental illness, walked into a Domino's with a gun and took 2 employees hostage. He was convinced the ads were a personal attack against him. Thankfully, everyone escaped safely, but yeah, the Noid mascot disappeared pretty fast after that.
The controversies didn't stop there. They started to get personal. Tom Monahan, a devout Catholic, began using a foundation with the Domino's name to fund political causes, particularly anti-abortion groups. That sparked a massive national boycott in 1989. Monahan later said he realized his personal politics were hurting his franchisees, the very people who built his company. And in 1998, he sold the empire he'd built from nothing for over $1 billion.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the modern era. The founder is gone, and Domino's is now facing maybe its biggest threat ever. its own terrible pizza. By the late 2000s, things were bad. Years of cost-cutting had destroyed the quality. And in focus groups, customers were just savage. They said the crust tasted like cardboard, that the sauce was like ketchup. The company was literally in a death spiral.
The company's stock was in the toilet. So the new CEO, Patrick Doyle, did something you almost never see a big company do. Instead of making excuses, he launched a national ad campaign admitting they sucked. They put that horrible customer feedback right there on the screen for everyone to see and promised to reinvent their pizza from the ground up.
And the result of that radical honesty? It was unbelievable. People respected it. They gave the new pizza a shot, and guess what? It was actually way better. Customers came flooding back. Just look at this stock chart. From under $3 a share to over $400 in about a decade, they outperformed most of the big tech companies.
But here's the thing. It wasn't just about a better recipe. They totally changed their identity. The CEO flat out said, Domino's is a tech company that happens to sell pizza. They pioneered mobile ordering, the famous pizza tracker. They made getting a pizza easier and more fun than anybody else.
And finally, in 2019, the mission was complete. After 60 years of being the scrappy underdog, Domino's officially became the largest pizza company in the entire world. It is, without a doubt, one of the greatest comebacks in business history.
So, what's the big takeaway from this insane story? In a world of corporate spin, Domino's bet everything on admitting they failed. That one brutally honest decision didn't just save their company, it launched them to the very top. It really makes you wonder, what could other brands accomplish if they were just a little more honest?